All right, guys. So welcome back to the channel, guys. Today it's me, 8744, and I have a special guest with me, MSN. And today we'll be reviewing the season review. We'll be looking into everything, how the season went. We'll be discussing about the managers, discuss about the top 5 best Barcelona games. We'll discuss about how Barca did each competition. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then give an overall season review and how the season was. So let's start with. While we're at it, let's just start with the top 5 best games. I think we should start with that, and only for this season, obviously. So, yeah. So, let's start with that, I suppose. So, MSN, what do you think? What would your top 5 be? I suppose.
Okay, so for
Let's
my
start with that.
top 5 games of the season, so I think in number 1, I would really have to say the 6-1 against Real Sociedad this season. Then I would probably say the game against PSG, the 1-1 draw. We were showing some promise in that game. Then definitely, I think we did really well against did well against Athletic Club in the Copa del Rey final, and we also did really well against we did really well against Granada in January. And then another game I would have to say it was a crucial win at the beginning of the season versus Real Sociedad in La Liga, the 2-1, when we had to come back after being 1-0 down. Those are the 5 I would say.
Okay. Yeah, I think on some of those I agree with you. I agree with the Copa del Rey one, the 4-0 one. That was amazing. That was absolutely brilliant. 6-1 win against Real Sociedad. Real Sociedad was amazing as well. Unexpectedly. Another game I also thought was really good, and I don't think you mentioned this. You might have if you did. I said, Sidars, we're gonna try to do this in an hour. Okay. We're gonna what was I saying? So I was saying is that the 5-3 win against Granada. 5-3 win against Granada. That was an amazing comeback. Yeah, that one was amazing. I still cannot believe we did that to this day. That's incredible. You know.
And just to add, and then the game against Sevilla, where like Jared Piqué scores that 94th minute header to send us into extra time.
Yeah, I think I would say that was my 4th one. I'm not really ranking these in particular order. I'm just saying these, so it's kind of hard to. It's kind of difficult to rank. So this would be my 4th one. The final one, I'm trying to think. What would be another good one? I feel like another great game. Maybe, actually, you know what? I'm going to say Real Betis. I'm going to say the Real Betis 2, Barcelona 3. I thought it was a really good game that we're able to come from behind and we're able to get a victory. And it was a very, very big victory as well. And I felt like this was a game.
And now, same like I was saying, another game would possibly be like that 2-1 versus Villarreal, where Antoine Griezmann just put on like a couple of minutes, like 20 minutes of brilliance. First, he like chipped the keeper, and then he was just in the right position to score that goal. So that was also like a crucial win. If only Barcelona didn't go and then lose to Granada.
Yeah. Another one I also, I thought the first game of the season was amazing. That's a good honorable mention. I'll give this an honorable mention. Actually, you know what? Maybe I might include that instead of this one. It was the game where Ansu Fati scored that brace. I thought it was a really, really good game. I really liked that one. So, yeah, let me see if I can find. Where is it? Yeah, it was Barcelona 4, Villarreal 0. This was amazing. Like, when Fati scored those 2 goals, I was absolutely amazed. I really wish he took the penalty because it would have been nice for him to get a hat trick on the first game of the season, but it is what it is. It didn't happen. So I thought that was another really good game. And, actually, I'll put this in my top 5. Actually. I thought it was a really good game as well. First game of the season as well, which I thought was a big game. Too bad he was injured for most of the season.
I feel like if he wasn't injured, we would have definitely won a lot more games. Because
he could. So those are our top 5. Actually, I'll let you finish. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say if Ansu Fati wasn't injured, we could have probably won more games. Because like he would be like that poacher in front of goal when like Griezmann drifts or like somebody drifts, because he's played in the 9th position in the academy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. So yeah, so that's pretty much it for our top 5 best games. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, whether you guys agree with it or not, or whether you guys would pick another one. I'm sure there's some other good games we can mention. Like I said, though, we have a lot of stuff to discuss, so we're not going to spend too much time on that. So I think it's best to move on to let's go and talk about how Barcelona did each competition. Let's start with that, I suppose. So let's start with I guess the Supercopa de España. Let's get that one out of the way. Let's just kind of build this up. So how do you think Barcelona did Supercopa de España?
Well, I actually think they did really poorly, to be honest, because obviously in Real Sociedad, the game was a 1-1 draw and then went to penalties. Really, I don't really think the game needed to go to penalties. I feel like if they could have finished the game off sooner, probably in like extra time or something, there was no need to go to penalties. But when we did, we definitely, Marc-Andre ter Stegen definitely gave us the win there. I would say he's the man of the match for that match. And then obviously we go to the final, and then we concede an 89th minute set piece, and then it's going into extra time. We don't then we start getting into that mentality saying oh, we're gonna lose, oh, we can't do this, and then they concede another goal in extra time, and then Messi gets sent off for the first time in his Barca career. So
I'd say I definitely agree with you. The Supercopa this season was very sad in the fact that I think we're the only team that hasn't even won. I think we haven't even won a Supercopa game in the last two seasons, which is very, very sad. In the game against Real Sociedad, I feel like we were very, very fortunate that ter Stegen was in amazing form, because I remember the extra time, when extra time happened, I remember Real Sociedad were piling. They were amazing. They were absolutely superb. They had so many shots. I remember they had some brilliant shots. And I really do believe if ter Stegen wasn't that great, we probably would have lost that game and regulation time. And obviously, I give credit for Ricky Puig scoring the winner there. And I felt like the first half was pretty much it. That was good. Everything else in the second half was pretty much bad. I didn't think we were able to control. And obviously, they got a penalty, which I thought was a very weird penalty. I didn't think it was a penalty to begin with, but it is what it is. And then in the game against Athletic Club, yeah, that was a game that Griezmann really came alive, and I really feel bad for him because he really deserved that trophy. I mean, if there were anyone from that team that deserved the trophy for that performance, it was Griezmann. Griezmann was absolutely superb, and unfortunately, Griezmann didn't win the trophy. And Athletic Club came back from being twice down, which I have to give them a lot of credit to, is that they came back from 2 times down to actually win the game, which is ridiculous. I feel like in that game, we never really played that well, and I feel like Griezmann was the only reason we even had it. We were even playing well to begin with, because I think if Griezmann wasn't in that great form, we probably would have lost that game in regular time. So, yeah, and it was so sad to see us conceding those stupid goals from set pieces. I mean, defensively, we were so bad in the game. So, overall, I would say the Supercopa this season was pretty poor. I definitely agree with you. And I'm going to go ahead and say, out of scale 1 to 10, I'll probably give it a 3. I think it was that bad. I mean, honestly, I didn't think it was that good. So I'm going to say 3 is my score there. And yeah, so I definitely agree with you. So what do you think? Do you agree with my score, MSN?
yeah, I agree. It's 3, 4 possibly, because it wasn't that good. It was terrible.
Now we'll move on to what should we do next? Let's do the Champions League next. Champions League next.
Okay, this is a story. You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first, I suppose, for this one. So, yeah, the Champions League. I feel like we started the group very, very good. We started the group very, very good, in that we controlled our own group. We were in top. We had so many good performances. There, the first game against Ferencváros, we won 5-1. It was an amazing win. And then obviously against Juventus, we won 2-0 away at Turin, which I thought was amazing. Then against Dynamo Kiev, I think we won 2-1, and then 4-1. And it looked all promising, And then it came that final match day against Juventus. And this is what annoys me so much, is that all we needed to do was to get a draw. A draw was even enough. Even a loss could have actually seen us top of the group. Just not by a 3-goal margin. And that's the thing that Barcelona did. They lost 3-0 at home, thanks to a Ronaldo brace from the penalty spot and a crazy McKennie goal. And I just think that for me, that defeat had basically ended. That defeat basically destroyed Barcelona, and they gave Barcelona a good test in the round of 16 against Paris Saint-Germain. And I still believe to this day that if we had gone with the back 3 in the first leg, I think I don't know. I think PSG probably would still have gone through, because I think they had the superior team. But I do believe the game would have been a lot closer. Obviously, we know what happened. PK Longley started, and Mbappe did that masterclass against Barcelona in the first leg, which was amazing. I think that was his first goal as a Champions League knockout stage in a long time. And then obviously, the second leg we played really well. But as I said, I'm not going to put too much. I don't want to spend too much on the second leg, simply because, like I said before, guys, PSG were already practically through to the next round. So I don't believe the second leg was a true good test, but it was still a good performance nonetheless. So as far as Champions League, I would say for the most part, I think we did pretty relatively well, but it's those 2 games against Juventus and PSG at home that basically costed us. And I feel like I feel like we could have potentially made the quarters. So yeah, I'm going to give the Champions League probably a 6. I thought we did relatively well for the most part. It's just those 2 games against Juventus and PSG are really is the reason why the Champions League score goes a little down. So 6, in my opinion, is my rating, I suppose. How about you?
Well, to start, obviously, we did well against Dynamo Kiev, both games. Spanish Rivals, both games. And then the Juventus, the first game was a good good match. But then, like as you were saying, the home leg the home match against Juventus, and then obviously they went and lost by 3-0, which obviously made them second in the group, where even like a 1-0 loss or a draw would have been enough to see them through. And I feel like our Champions League, like the run was lost when we lost to Juventus, because if you look, the second place team always versus the first team in any other group when the draw is made. So obviously, like Bayern Munich was there, PSG was there, Dortmund was there, all the better teams than Barcelona were there. So you could obviously tell that like this isn't going to be good. So I feel like if we had won the game versus Juventus, we could have made like a good run. I would suppose the quarterfinals at least. So like, as you were saying, the Champions League was relatively good, except for those like the 2 crucial matches, the 2 matches or 3 matches that we had to win. We didn't win, and that eventually cost us the Champions League. So I would say like a 5 or 6 out of 10 for our Champions League win.
Yeah, I think if we had topped the group, I think we could have seen a quarters. I don't think semis was realistic. I think semis and final was way off the charts. I don't think that was going to happen. So I was expecting at least quarters at the minimum. So Jordan Hyman, you can join if you want. I did put the StreamYard link in the pinned section, so you can join if you want. So feel free to join. I pinned it so you can join if you want. Okay. So yeah, I definitely think the Champions League this season was pretty disappointing considering how well we started. So now we move on to let's move on to La Liga. Let's do La Liga next. Okay. So La Liga for me this season, I thought was, I think this is going to be very interesting because I honestly believe La Liga this season was a bit disappointing considering how we ended. But considering how we started, I think this season might not have been as bad as we envisioned it would be. And I felt like that the beginning was very tough for us. Obviously, we had a game and we were like doing really poor. I think we had lost like 3. We had like 2 games. We had a 3-game winless streak. I think it was against Real Madrid and Getafe, and I believe was at Alaves. And then finally Koeman started to figure things out, and then we finally went on that ridiculous 19 games unbeaten run. And which I thought was amazing. So yeah, so that's my opinion on that. I think La Liga for me, for the most part this season, I thought it was relatively disappointing considering how we ended. So I feel like we could have done a lot better if we had obviously won against the likes of Levante, Granada, and Celta Vigo. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. So yeah, how would you say La Liga is? I think La Liga is definitely a very interesting one. So how would you say?
Obviously, you have to like give praise to the players and Koeman for getting them from like 13th to like the 3rd place at the end. But the problem was that we were getting wins that we needed, but against the big teams like Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid, we were just not there. Like if you were watching the Real Madrid game in El Clasico, we just weren't there. Nobody was in that poacher position. Like that's like one of the main problems we had in La Liga this season. It's like the chances were coming in, but nobody was there to strike them, like a striker. And I think our La Liga season, it was pretty interesting. Obviously, it was not the finish we were all hoping for. Towards the end of the season, we were all hoping they would be like top of the table, they'd be winning. But like obviously, 3rd place is still good. This team was definitely put on the incredible 19 unbeaten streak, which was really amazing. But like I really think that this team if they had just got like a point against Atletico Madrid when they in like November, a point or like not a point, I mean a win against Atletico for the second time at the Camp Nou, or like if they could have just picked up points where they lost them, we would have definitely won La Liga. And obviously, it's not a poor season from Barcelona. They did finish third. They're in the Champions League. But so overall, I would give it like a 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 for La Liga.
Okay, I didn't give a score. Yeah, let me go ahead and say this. I think right now, considering because let's be real, I didn't actually believe we would win La Liga this season from the start. I'm going to say this right now, guys. I didn't think we would win La Liga this season, and to even be in the conversation to even potentially winning La Liga towards the end, I thought was very commendable. You have to respect that, and obviously, I know a lot of people are going to be blaming Atleti for that. Obviously, you should. But I still believe it's a miracle for us to be in the title race to begin with, in the end, So. I'm going to say I think overall, I think this season of La Liga has been good, but it could have been a lot better if the players if Koeman didn't really mess up with the rotations and all that stuff, and which we'll obviously talk about later with Koeman. I still believe this was a relatively decent La Liga season. Obviously, it's the worst finish for Barcelona since 2007, I think. So, in that sense, not that good, but I still think it's a good season considering how poor we were in the beginning. So, I'm going to give this season probably a 7, a La Liga season 7. So, Jordan Hyman, what do you think?
Yes. Well, the guys are getting some new players on the team, so hopefully we get a chance to win La Liga. So we're getting Aguero and Gini and Memphis Depay. So hopefully we can win La Liga next season.
Yeah. Next season we should try to win because 3 seasons in a row with not winning is very, very bad. It's very, very bad. That is not acceptable. I don't accept that. That's not good. So, yeah, we could. I definitely believe next season we could do. I think I might do another video about this, like what our expectations are for the next season. So I might consider doing that video for that. But yeah. So Jordan Hyman, do you think this La Liga season has been overall good or been bad for Barcelona this season? Just this season, last season, I suppose.
Well, I know that Atletico Madrid won it, and Real Madrid didn't perform well, but on the last day, I don't know what happened with Barcelona, and they lost that game. And again, I don't know who Barcelona did play, but then they lost that game, and then Atletico take advantage and win La Liga. And
yeah, I think we lost against Celta Vigo. I think that's what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that loss versus Granada really like ended the title hopes for like Barcelona fans. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that for me, when I saw that we lost to Granada, I knew that it was basically over for us, and that it was either going to be Atleti or Real. So, yeah, that game against Granada basically costed everything. And it's so sad to see that even though we didn't really win many of the big games, we still had a great chance to win, which is ridiculous, So, yeah, as I said, it's a very disappointing. As well as I feel like you're right. I think the big games this season definitely costed Barcelona that much. But I believe it's not really the big. How do I put it? I feel like it's not all down to big games. I feel like it was just down to the fact that those games in particular that Koeman made those weird rotations, which I think was the reason why we lost. So
I mean, like half the losses are like half the points drafted weren't from like big games because we lost to Cadiz. Both we drew Cadiz once. Could have won that game. That would have given us 2 points. We lost to Cadiz. We could have probably won that. That would have given us 3 points. We drew Alaves. Like some of these games, like if we had just won them against like the smaller teams, we could have probably won La Liga.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it's sad to see what happened, but it is what it is. So let's move on to the Copa del Rey, which was probably Barcelona's best competition this season. I think that's fair to say. So let me go ahead and just touch upon the Copa del Rey, which we already discussed briefly. Obviously, we discussed about the final. And yeah, so let me go look at the matches. So, yeah, Jordan Hyman, do you think Barcelona did well in the Copa del Rey this season?
Yes. They have likes of you guys have likes of Messi, so it will be I'm gonna do well, yes. I don't sure if he will be retired, so Aguero will be there now as his teammates. They're teammates from the same country, so I don't sure if he will be retiring or he will still be playing for Barcelona. So I don't really know what Messi decision is, but he will be the one Barcelona needs to look up to. Hopefully they will win it. So,
Yeah, I think the Copa del Rey was definitely the best season, best competition this season for Barcelona. Obviously, them winning was incredible. I'm still happy to say we obviously won, even because let's just be real. If we had not won this trophy, it would have technically been a trophyless season for Barcelona, which obviously 2 seasons in a row was really, really bad. I don't really like doing that. So it's good to see that obviously we won the Copa del Rey. It was a big, big trophy indeed. And I feel like for me, the comebacks we made in this competition were ridiculous. Against Sevilla, against Granada, even against Rayo Vallecano, it was amazing. And I just think for me, it's incredible that we won this. You know, the manner that we won this was incredible too. And unfortunately, we couldn't build upon this for the La Liga. But I would give credit to the Koeman for that, for winning Copa del Rey. And I think it's definitely something we can build upon. I know Copa del Rey isn't exactly the most prestigious trophy ever. I know Copa del Rey is not as valuable as the Champions League or La Liga or the Europa League or anything like that. But it's still a trophy. It's still a trophy. And I'll take any trophy over no trophies any day of the week. So that's just my assessment there. So I'll give Copa del Rey probably, I'll say Barcelona probably an 8 or 9. I'm going to give a 9. I'm going to give a 9. I thought Barcelona did really, really well. I think, actually, you know what? I'm going to give it 10. A 10. I thought it was amazing. I'll say 10, I suppose. Emerson, what do you think?
Well, I think definitely the manner that they won the Copa del Rey deserves a lot of praise. Obviously, against like Vallecano, Sevilla, and Granada, especially like Antoine Griezmann, Jordi Alba, they were like really the heroes of the Copa del Rey. Really, because especially in the Copa del Rey, Antoine Griezmann definitely like deserves a lot of praise because he kind of like helped us win the Copa del Rey in my opinion. Because he scored that goal versus Granada, and then like without that goal, we probably wouldn't have made it. So and then in the game against Athletic, Griezmann opened the scoring for us. So overall, I would give it like a 10 out of 10, really, because the manner that we won this game, it deserves a lot of praise.
I definitely agree with you. This was amazing. So I think that's pretty much it for the competition. So I think Barcelona did decently well. So I think overall, all competitions wise, I think I'm going to give. I would say Barcelona, as far as the competition is concerned this season, I'm going to say I'll give them actually, let's do the average score. Let's do it. So I gave it 10 for the Copa del Rey. So let me go ahead and do averages. Actually, let's do that. So 10 for Copa del Rey. And I gave it 3 for the Supercopa. Then I gave 7. I think I gave a 6 for Champions League, and I gave 7 for La Liga. So let's divide that by 4. So the overall score would be a 6.5. So that would be my overall score for the season. I think that's a good score, a 6.5 for this season out of 10. So yeah, that would be the average score. I think that's
I'll give it like a 6 for like the overall season.
Yeah, I did the average thing, so it'd probably be around the same, which I would give. Yeah. So yeah. Jordan, do you think overall this season was good for Barcelona, or not really, or what do you think overall this season?
Overall this season, well, it's only one person they're depending on to get the goals, and it's Messi. So they're not depending on nobody else. So it's Messi is the only person stepping up for them. So them perform well by winning games, and they did well against in the Champions League as well. So they were so close not to beat Paris, but it didn't happen. But I'm very proud. I'm proud of Messi too, as a legend of Barcelona and Argentina.
Okay. So yeah, now we move on to let's do the players next. So we'll do Koeman last, I suppose. So we're now going to talk about the players for this season, and we're going to go ahead and do this. So we're going to get basically how this is going to work. So I'm going to talk about every single position. We're going to do defenders, and then we'll do the midfielders, and then we'll do the forwards. Okay. So that's how we're going to do it. So we're going to do it that way. So let me go ahead and put this back to normal, and let me go ahead and do the players. So we're going to start off with obviously. Let me go ahead and do its transfer market instead. So let me go to transfer market. See all the available players here. So
here, Genie, Depay, and Emerson.
So let me go and get the current squad, and then we'll look at each position.
Yeah, first, can we just start with the goalkeepers? Like others.
Yeah, we're gonna start with the goalkeepers. We're gonna start. So we have two goalkeepers: Marc-Andre Ter Stegen and Neto. I'm gonna zoom this in so you guys can see. It's a bit too small, probably, I reckon. So I think this is good. This is good size.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's good. Okay. So I think overall, I think the goalkeepers did relatively. Actually, how would I say this? I think the goalkeepers this season were a bit let me just say this right now. I think the goalkeepers for this season were good. However, for the high standards for Barcelona, I think they were a bit underwhelming, to be fair, because I do believe Ter Stegen for me this season. He could have done a lot better. I remember in those games against Levante, Granada, I feel like some of those goals could have been prevented. But obviously, I'm not going to blame entirely on him because I believe the defense in front of him is not that good. However, I still do believe the goalkeepers this season, I think they did okay for they did good for their they did good, but I do believe the goalkeepers have done better, especially Neto and Ter Stegen. I think they made two big mistakes this season in La Liga. I think Neto made the mistake against Alaves, and then I think Ter Stegen made the mistake against Atletico Madrid. So obviously, there's that. So overall, I think this season our goalkeepers were crucial, but I wouldn't go as far as to say like we won solely because of them. I think like the only game I could think of that we really, really won with Ter Stegen was probably the game against Real Sociedad and the Supercopa de España. That's about it. I don't think I can think of any other games where I could say we single-handedly won because of that player, that goalkeeper. And that's what for me would really make. So goalkeepers, I'm going to give them a 6, I suppose. I don't think I'm going to give any higher simply because I don't think the goalkeepers were as good as they were in the previous seasons. So yeah. How about you? What do you think, MSN?
Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, he was good in my opinion, but like as you're saying, for the high standards of Barcelona, he was a bit underwhelming. One thing I would definitely say is he could definitely improve on his sweeping keeping, because obviously there's some times where if he just came out to get the ball, we wouldn't have conceded. So like obviously he's good at one-on-ones, but definitely his sweeping could have been worked on. Neto, obviously you're saying he made that mistake against Alaves, and then Ter Stegen versus Atletico Madrid, and obviously they don't have the best defense in front of them. So like they have Gerard Piqué and Clement Lenglet. I don't know how much you can trust them. So I would give them like a 6 out of 10, 6 out of 10 for the goalkeepers. Obviously they could definitely improve next season, and obviously Marc-Andre Ter Stegen is getting a surgery on his knee, so possibly he could have been playing with that injury. We don't know why.
Yeah, that might have been a reason why he didn't do so well compared to previous seasons. So let's hope that next season he is back to his 100% and doesn't have to go through that again.
That's really it. We can go into the defense now.
Okay, so Jordan Hyman, do you agree with our goalkeepers ratings, I suppose?
Ter Stegen, he's a good goalkeeper, but when he's in goal, he needs to stay on his line.
That's it. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Okay.
He's good though. He's good.
Yeah, I think we should move on to the defense now. So we're going to move on to the defense. We have a lot of players to discuss. So how should we do this? So I think, we're going to talk about all the defense. Actually, let's start with the center backs, I suppose, and then we'll do the left backs and the right backs. I think that's very fair. Okay. So center backs this season. So how would you rate the center backs this season, MSN?
For the center backs, I would definitely say they were mediocre, really. I mean, obviously there's Mingueza, then there's Roberto. The two prospects are like two people that were really good in the center back pairing. Because obviously, if you like watch the game against Sociedad, the 2-1 at the beginning of the season, it was Roberto and Clement Lenglet, Roberto and Oscar Mingueza. I really like that combination. But like for the other center backs like Umtiti, PK, Longley especially, they made too many mistakes. They gave away the ball in the wrong position, and like it was just not good from them. And then Gerard Piqué was obviously injured, and then he came back for the match against PSG, and we like completely lost that, like 4-1. So I would say the center backs weren't that good, but like people like Ronald Araujo and Oscar Mingueza, they definitely helped keep the defense solid for a time being. So for the center backs, I would give them like a 4 out of 10.
I think I'm going to give I have this similar rating as you. Yeah, for me this season, I think the center backs this season have been really disappointing. I think the only center back I could say that really could put their head held up high is Ronald Araujo, who in my opinion was probably the best center back we had this season, best center back this season for sure. The amount of tackles he made, the amount of interceptions he made, even some goals he even contributed to was obviously incredible. Long life for me this season just simply wasn't good enough.
And then one thing just to add, like I'm pretty sure like Ronald Araujo is like the only center back in Europe that hasn't been dribbled past this season. So that just shows you how good he's been for Barcelona this season.
Longley, I don't think has been good. PK, I respect PK. I think PK is a great player, but I think he has to. Like make room for the younger defenders. So yeah, I think I would say Raul was pretty good. Mingueza for me was good. I like Mingueza, but I don't know. I feel like for me he has a lot of work ethic. I think his work ethic is very good. I'm not so sure how talented he is. So I definitely do believe he's probably our second best center back this season. And then I'll probably say the rest Umtiti, Longley, PK were just not that good. Just to put it otherwise. So yeah, I think for the most part the Roberto was definitely the best for sure. And I think I'm going to give a 4 out of 10, I suppose. So, yeah, Jordi Alba, what do you think about the center backs this season?
PK, he needs to try to avoid from yellow card and especially red card before he get banned and out for the rest of games. But he's a good defender. He defends well for Spain. He's a good Spaniard defender, but he needs to try to avoid from getting cards for his club.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're also right. That's a good point. I didn't even mention about that. PK does tend to get a lot of yellow cards, which obviously isn't good. This season, though, let's be real, he didn't really play too many of the games, so I'm not going to really be harsh on PK. But yeah, you're definitely right in the sense that he did pick up a lot of yellow cards, I think.
I feel like the main reason for him picking up yellow cards, I mean, like, there could be because he's making a lot of fouls, but like I think there's also like a tactical aspect to it, like you know how like Fernandinho or like Busquets, like in like the past or like the season, they like do tactical fouls just so like they don't concede the goal. So I think he's like picking up yellow cards for that aspect too.
Yeah, I understand. That's good, but obviously I don't want you to get suspended. That I don't like. So just do it like when it's very, very like don't do it every single time. Just do. Yeah,
don't do it to get the yellow card. Like try to like make like a clear. Like don't like foul the person and get like a yellow card. Like do it like in a way that you don't get a yellow card.
Because like I said, getting suspended for a game is not good. So I think it's 5 yellow cards.
We saw the game against what was it? Was it Levante or was it like Celta Vigo without Frankie de Jong? We were just.
Oh, yeah, it was against Celta Vigo.
Yeah, we lost that because like there's no control in the midfield.
Yeah, we'll get to the midfield a little later. So let's move on to the Leftbacks. So we obviously have Jordi Alba, Junior Firpo. Let's just put it this way. Jordi Alba was basically the main one. Junior Firpo barely played this season. So, yeah, I think for me, Jordi Alba this season was incredible. His goals and assists were incredible. I really do respect that. I think this season, I think he's been amazing. It's just his defensive work I question a lot, and especially his mentality. I don't really think he has the best mentality. But, yeah, I think for the most part, I think he was very, very solid, and I think he's definitely I think he was definitely important for our goals and assists this season. So I'm going to give Alba probably a 7. I'm going to give 7 for Alba this season.
I mean, obviously, Alba had a really good season, great season, obviously, because he helped with the Copa del Rey against Granada. He scored the goal to bring it to extra time. And he's also, he contributed a lot with the goals and assists this season. Because, if you really think about this season, people would probably remember him for scoring some goals. really. But like obviously his defensive work, I don't really like think he's really good at defending. He's more of like an attacker, like a wingback really. And Junior Firpo, he had some okay games really. So like I don't really think Junior Firpo was good, but Alba, he had a great season. I'll give him like a 6.5 out of 10.
All right, yeah. So if we have to give Junior Firpo a rating, I'll give him probably a 2, I suppose, or a 3. So I guess if I had to
4.
Okay, I'll give a 4. Yeah, 4 is fair. So let me do the average. So I gave Alba a 7. I'm gonna give Junior Firpo a 4. So 11 out of 2, 5.5. So 5.5, I suppose, is probably the fair thing. So yeah, I'm gonna give a 5.5 for the Leftbacks this season. So yeah, this is a really good point, Siddharth. Alba fitted well in the 3-5-2. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think he played really, really well. I mean, yeah, I think he also played relatively well in the 4-3-3 as well. So yeah, but 3-5-2, I think he definitely was in his best position. I think 3-5-2 as a wingback, he was incredible.
Yeah, he was. Like especially with a 3-5-2 or like a 3-4-3, he was really good.
So yeah, Jordan Hammond, what do you think of the left backs?
Yes, left back. Yes, when him the Ling when him is playing there, if he's good there, that will be his position. That will Barcelona manager will go with. But yeah, good left back.
Okay. So let's move on to the right backs. So we have 3 right backs, actually basically 2 because Musa Wagan didn't even play this season, I believe. So Serginho Dest and Sergio Roberto. I thought Serginho Dest this season was pretty good. I think attacking wise, he was amazing. I know his goals and assists were not as good as Alba's. However, I do believe he was very, very good in the attack aspect. I think attacking wise, he was pretty good. Defensively, I thought he was good. Defensively, I thought he was good for the most part. I remember that game against Real Madrid. He was really good defensively. I thought that was like definitely his best defensive game in my opinion. Probably one of his best games this season. Unfortunately, I didn't think he had some. I don't think he had a great. I don't think there's been any other games I could say defensively was amazing. Maybe against PSG in the second leg, you can maybe argue. Or yeah, I think for the most part, Dest for me. I think he had a relatively good season. This is his first season here. Remember, guys, I don't think he was even a first choice at Ajax at their right back position. So it's good to see how important he has been. And I think the amount of games he has played this season has been incredible. And like this is like he's relatively young as well. He's like 20 years old. So I give him a lot of credit in that aspect. And I think Serginho Dest for me this season had a relatively good season. Let's just put it this way: Roberto had a pretty bad season. I don't think that's a surprise there, and I think for me there's that. So I'll give Sergio Dest probably a 6 there, and I think I'm going to give Roberto probably a 3. I'm going to give Roberto a 3. I thought Roberto was very poor this season.
For me, obviously, Serginho Dest was incredible. I mean, he had a obviously he contributed a lot. One thing I really liked about Serginho Dest was he was a risk taker. He would play that risky ball. He would play that pass even though he wasn't sure it was going to get there. So that's something that really helped. And obviously, he was really good. He was like good defensively for the most part, but he was really good in the attack. He really I don't want to start with the comparison yet, but like he was kind of like a Dani Alves, yeah. So like, but obviously he had a really good season. But the only concern that I have this is not really like a positional his fault, but like I have a feeling that if Roberto's like fit, Koeman tends to like prefer him over Serginho Dest, because obviously you saw that in the game versus Granada, the game that we needed to win. He put in Roberto instead of Dest, and then like there's other games where like even though we needed Serginho Dest, he put in Roberto instead of him. So I would give Serginho Dest like a 7 out of 10, and then Roberto like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, Roberto was very poor this season. Was very poor at home most of the season and was injured from a lot of the season. The games he did come on for, he didn't really produce anything special. So yeah, I definitely agree with you in the sense. And that is a kind of a good point. Koeman does seem to prefer Roberto over Dest. And that might be because of the fact that it is seniority and that Roberto is a La Masia captain, obviously. And that also might be because, Dest is relatively young, as I said, 20 years old. So that might be another reason. But I think going forward next season, Dest has to be the starter. I think he has to be the starter. We paid we bought him from Ajax, so we should start him. Like otherwise, then it's kind of meaningless to buy him then if we're not going to start him.
I mean, the thing is, even though like Roberto's from La Masia, and like Roberto is like Barca born and bred, and like Roberto is like seniority, Dest is better in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. So yeah, I'm hoping that next season Koeman does that. So I think overall, so let's see. I think the right backs, I guess overall considered, I think I gave Dest a 6, and I think I gave Roberto a 3. So 6 plus 3. So that's going to be a 4.5. So yeah, I think that's decent. I think that's decent for both, so I suppose. Okay. So yeah, Jordan Hyman, what do you think of Sergio Dest this season?
Yeah, he's a good right back for Barcelona. Yes, he play well at right back, and that's a good position for him to be a right back for Barcelona. This is young, but he will get used to the position. He's about 20 years old, 21. So he's good. He's very good.
So we now move on. Roberto's time is up as Emerson is in. Yes, that's definitely true. Thank you for mentioning this, Siddhartha. We're gonna hopefully Roberto leaves this summer and Emerson can do it. So we're gonna move on to the defensive mid. Now, as you can see, we basically only have one defensive mid because let's be real, Matheus Fernandes. I don't think he even played a single minute on this season, so let's not even consider him. So we're just gonna have the Sergio Busquets. For me, this season, Busquets has been incredible. I thought Busquets this season was incredible in the 3-5-2. I thought he was amazing. Those long balls he made was incredible, and I thought he was very, very good. He was being more attacking minded. He had some more through balls, which I really like, and I really like how Busquets was utilized. Whereas the 4-3-3, I feel like more often than not, especially in the big games, I felt like he really disappointed. I didn't think Busquets was ever that great in the big games. However, in the games against the mid-table teams and like teams close to the bottom, like relegation time teams, I think Busquets played really well. So my only concern with Busquets is that I don't know if he's really ready for the elite type of teams, like, the likes of Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid, because in those kind of games, I tend to see him not do particularly too well. So overall, though, I think this season he has been good. It's just those kind of games in particular I was a bit disappointed with, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, like going back to your fly, Matheus Fernandes, he put like 10 minutes in the Champions League game, so he's not even there. Yeah. I mean, like, nobody would even notice because he, like, never played. So then there's Busquets. Busquets, the first half of the season was pretty average. It wasn't that good. But when we switched formations, like, the second half of the season, he was just incredible. Like, I would remember, like, every match, he would be putting, like, incredible passes, outrageous passes over the top, through balls, through the side. It was just outrageous from Busquets for the second half of the season. But, like, the real question is, it's not that he's not ready for the big games, but I don't think he can just handle the pace, the speed, and, like, the tempo of the game. Because there are better midfielders currently, and that's because of his age. So age is a factor in that too. But in total, I think that Busquets would be like a 7 out of 10 this season. Because he was good, but I think his time's almost up.
Yeah, I think I'll give a 6 in that sense. I think he was pretty good. In the sense that, I definitely think the big games is probably what my biggest concern is. Jordan Hyman, what do you think of Busquets this season?
Busquets, you cannot have the likes of like Hazard, the skills of Hazard. So he will. I know he don't know how to manage those players well, but he's good though. But I know that Hazard is a good player. So Hazard have skills and he cannot manage the skills of Hazard. So Hazard is very speedy as well. So Busquets is a good player, but he don't know how to handle the likes of Hazard or Benzema. So he's good.
Okay. So I think there's that. So let's move on to the central midfielders, and I'll let Emerson start with this one. I'll let you share your thoughts first, actually.
Okay, so
for
the central midfield, we have Frankie de Jong, Miralem Pjanic, Ricky Puig, Ilaix Moriba. I feel like Well, like Pedri and Coutinho, they're more of the attacking mid. So we'll just start with those four for now. Frankie de Jong had an excellent season. Like he was contributing goals, assists. He was definitely an attack in the final third, which is something that we could use. Those late runs into the box. Milan Pjanic didn't even play really that much. I don't really know what to say for him. I mean, he was okay on the bench. So, like, I mean, like, then there's Ricky Puig. Same with him. He didn't really play. But when he did play, he was showing, he was like, he was contributing a different type of tempo, like fast pace, something that we really need in our game. And then Ilaix Moriba, he was one providing like physicality and like more like the Busquets type of role, like physicality sitting deep and then like passing the ball out. And then so like really those three, I really want to see those three in a midfield together because I feel like that would be like a really good midfield. Obviously, like Frankie de Jong had a great season. Ricky Puig didn't really have a good season because he never really played, but when he did play, he was good. Moriba, really towards the second end of the season, we started to see him more. I really think he's a good player for the future. So in the midfield, I would give it like a 8 out of 10.
Okay, yeah. I definitely do think that Frankie de Jong this season was incredible. Frankie de Jong this season was incredible. Like I'm like he was amazing. Like, the goals and assists was incredible, as well as the fact that he was just like he was making something happen, you know. And I feel like for me, Frankie de Jong, his like he was getting into the box. He was so active in the midfield. He was controlling the tempo in the game, and I really like Frankie de Jong. I think Frankie de Jong is starting to show what he came from Ajax for, because I feel like his debut season last season wasn't really that good. He was okay. I'm not going to say he was bad, but it could have been a lot better. And now this season has been amazing. Pjanic was relatively poor, I would suppose. Puig, Moriba, they were decent, but yeah, Puig for me, I feel really bad for. I feel like Puig for me this season really deserved more minutes. And obviously we know the agenda Koeman has against him. So, and I feel like whenever Puig came on, he always, most of the time, produced an amazing effect. And obviously, most of the time, he changed the game in Barcelona's favor. He made the game a lot better. Moriba, I thought he was good for the few games he played in. I think against, was it Osasuna? I think he scored his first goal against Osasuna, so that was amazing. So, yeah, I think for me, for this season, I think Frankie de Jong has been the main anchor of the midfield. And I'll give the midfield, I mean, let's see. Frankie de Jong, I'll probably give it 8. Pjanic, I'll probably give a 3, I suppose. Puig, I'll probably give a 4. And Moriba, I'll probably give a 4 as well, I suppose.
I feel like the other thing is with Puig, like same with like Frankie de Jong, when he came on, he made an impact. He didn't impact like when Roberto came on. Puig made an impact. He changed the game in favor of Barcelona. Kind of like in the Juventus game where we were losing 3-0. He came on and he had like an instant impact because he has the energy he brings onto the field.
And he was definitely our best player last season, post-lockdown, for sure. Best midfielder, for sure. So, yeah. I guess all things considered, the average that would be like 4.75. Which, yeah, I think the midfield. I think De Jong was amazing. The rest were pretty. Let's just be real. They were pretty average. And I really do believe. I think if Puig had been given more game time, I think Puig would score. I would definitely give him higher. But unfortunately, Koeman didn't do that. So, yeah. Yeah, let's move on. Actually, hold up. But let me ask Jordan Hammond. What do you think of the midfield this season? Central midfield.
Yeah, Frankie de Jong is a good player. He's very good in set up goals and he's very good at free kick and he's a brilliant player and I love his playing style. So he's very good for Barcelona. Yeah.
Also, one thing I liked about Frankie de Jong this season was that I remember that he always likes to try to improve himself. He doesn't like. I remember he even watched his own games like the airplane I see, and he tries to make himself better. He tries to improve upon himself, which I really like. I really like the work that he's trying to build, like trying to make himself a better player, which I thought was pretty important. And I think that's part of the reason why I think he did well this season, because of how much he reflection took, and I think Koeman really managed to get the best out of Frankie de Jong this season. I think Frankie de Jong has been transformed under Koeman, and I think if he didn't have Koeman this season, I think Frankie de Jong wouldn't have played particularly that as well. So, there's that to consider. Now we have the 2 attacking midfielders. We have Pedri, Coutinho. Just to put it otherwise, Yeah, just to put it otherwise, I believe for me this season that Coutinho was basically injured for most of the season, didn't really play particularly too much, and that most of the time he really never really contributed. I mean, he contributed a decent bit, but I didn't think it was amazing. Obviously, for me, Pedri this year was incredible. The amount of interception he made to win the ball back in the midfield, and a lot of the goals I saw this season were made from him, and that he was able to win the ball back from the midfield and make those through balls for the goals that happened, which I thought was very, very good in his aspect. And I think his work rates are incredible. The only issue I have with Pedri is that it's not really an issue with him. It's basically an issue with Koeman, which I guess we'll get onto later. I believe for me, Pedri played too many games. I think too many games got to him. And I think that's the reason why he didn't really play a lot of those games particularly that well, especially towards the end, because I think he racked up 50 appearances, which is ridiculous. For an 18-year-old, that's incredible. And I feel like for me, he was good. And yeah, to be fair, Coutinho was pretty good at the start of the season. I will definitely agree with you that Sid 16, you're spot on right here. Like Pedri had a great season. Coutinho at the start was amazing, but then after his injury, he didn't perform the same. Yeah, I think after the Coutinho's injury, I think he basically was never the same player. And I think Pedri for me had a great season. So I'm going to give the attacking midfielders probably 6 in that regard. I think they played well in the sense. So I think the attacking midfielders did well. What do you think, Emerson?
Well, I think along the same lines of you, Pedri had a great season, but obviously Koeman kept playing him and the amount of games just caught up to him. Obviously, Coutinho at the start, he was great. I mean, not great. He was showing some promise. He was making some good stuff happen, but the injuries, he got one injury, came back, got another injury, so that basically ruined his season. And in that time, Pedri came up. He started doing some great performances. So obviously, I would give the midfield a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I remember at one point, even Pedri was even benching Coutinho, which I thought was ridiculous. I remember at one point, I think Koeman was he was that good that Pedri was basically benching Coutinho, which is ridiculous because Coutinho is our highest, I think our highest transfer market player. No, not highest. The player that we played the most money for. So that's ridiculous.
There's also a financial aspect to that one, just because obviously if you play Coutinho, if you keep playing him, there's a clause where if you play him for a lot, you have to pay 30 million or something to Liverpool, and we don't have that money. So
yeah, I hope he could just get sold this summer just for his sake. And I think he needs to leave this club. Anyways, Jordi Alba, what do you think about Pedri this season?
Yes, he's a good player. I rate Coutinho more than him. So Coutinho is he's a brilliant player. He strike the ball and he's very dangerous when he's striking the ball. So I rate Coutinho more than him. So Coutinho is returning back to Liverpool. We will feel happy for that and win the league again. But Coutinho did well. He scored a brilliant goal in the World Cup 2018. So Coutinho is very dangerous player for Southern country. Coutinho, I give Coutinho 10 out of 10.
All right, now we move on to the left wingers. We have Ansu Fati, Carlos de la Fuente. Actually, I'll let you start, Jordan Hyman. What do you think of the left wingers this season?
Yes. I don't remember who was playing over there, but Aguirre will be there next season over that left wing alongside Messi and Griezmann, and it will be good next season. Hopefully, Barcelona can win the Liga next season. So, I agree to play there for this season for Barcelona.
Okay. So, yeah, I think the left wingers this season, I think they've been relatively disappointing. I think Fati, for me, obviously, when he was fit, he was amazing. The goals and assists was incredible. I think at one point he was even our top striker, top goal scorer, which is incredible. I think the brace he gets against Villarreal was incredible. The goal he scored against, I think, was it? What was it? I think Celta Vigo. I think for me, Ansu Fati had a great season. Unfortunately, it's just his injury really hampered his season. And obviously, Conrad De La Fuente didn't even play much to begin with, so I don't even think I gave a proper rating to Conrad in the sense. So I think Fati for me this season when he was fit, he was amazing, but unfortunately, most of the season was injured. So I'll give Fati a 6 for what he played. I thought he was really, really a 7. I thought he was really good when he was fit.
Just adding, like, when we had like those those wingers, obviously, like, we had like Ansu Fati, Conrad, Messi, Dembele, Trincao. Obviously, I feel like for Ansu Fati, if we're just going to talk about it for like a second, when he played, he was like one of our best players on the pitch, because obviously when like ideally I like to see our front line be like Dembele, Messi, and then Ansu Fati, and then they can like keep switching, because if Messi drifts to the left, Ansu Fati could like drift to the center, because like there's like versatility in Ansu Fati. So like Conrad, he didn't really play that much, and I feel like Messi was like one of our best players this season. Dembele, he definitely improved from the last few seasons he had here. And Trincao, I think he had like an okay first season, really. He didn't really play much, but when he played, he had some good moments, like, especially against like Real Betis. He scored that winning goal. And I feel like our like wingers, they did fairly decent. They did really well, especially Messi scoring 30 goals this season. So I would give them like an 8 out of 10, like a 7 out of 10. And obviously, if Ansu Fati wasn't injured, we could have done way better this season. As like 16 was saying in the chat. And yeah, I feel like a lot of people, I mean, probably first thing they will say is, if we had Ansu Fati, we could have probably done better. And I agree with that.
I think Ansu Fati was like, he was very clinical. That was very, very distinct, because for me, Dembele was never really, he was never really clinical to begin with. I don't think Dembele was ever that clinical. And that Trincao, for me, I thought his brace against Alves was really good. And I think when he scored that first goal, it gave him the confidence to score. And I think he was able to like take upon it, and he was able to finally score those goals that we needed. And I feel like for me, Trincao.
Yeah. And I'm saying once Trincao had that confidence, he was able to score goals. Koeman didn't play him.
Yeah. So I still believe with the many attackers are coming into the club next season, I think it might be best for Trincao to go out on loan, because I feel like it's going to be so compact here, and I feel like he could really do a loan move. And I think he had a good season. I think for the most part, our wingers had a good season for the most part. I think they relatively played well. I think for me, Ansu Fati was great. And I'm really happy to see Dembele play for most of the season. I thought like the fact that he was able to be he wasn't injury prone this season, which was incredible, because let's be real, in the past few seasons, he's been injury prone and has obviously been really bad. So I'm happy to see Dembele be in that sense, and that hopefully next season he can improve upon his goal scoring attribute, because I think that's been really I think he could really do it. So I think Dembele, for me, I'm really hoping he can step up next season's goal scoring department. So I think the wingers, I'll give them a 7, I suppose. I think the wingers play relatively well. I think the only disappointment is that it felt like Messi was amazing. Like, I feel like I would have really wished to have seen the other players contribute the kind of same impact as Messi. Unfortunately, it didn't really happen.
I mean, because I feel like, yes, I think, Trincao should go on loan, really. I don't think we should sell him just yet. I think definitely going on loan would be a good option, and bringing him back, like 2-season loan or 1.5 season loan or something like that. And like obviously for Dembele, the thing is, he wasn't really clinical. You saw that against PSG. Could have probably won that like 5-1 or something if Dembele hadn't missed those chances. So like Dembele isn't clinical, but obviously he improved since last season. That's mainly down to the fact that he wasn't injury prone.
Dembele for me really reminds you of Vinicius in the sense that both of the players, like, we know how much potential they have, and the fact that they're just not clinical whatsoever. And I feel like they're both very promising players, and they're players that could easily frustrate you. They're players that could easily frustrate, easily anger you in the sense like, how are you missing so many easy chances? And it's just it is what it is in the sense that I feel like they're both very similar in the sense. So hopefully the next season that we could see them be clinical, and I really hope next season Conrad De La Fuente plays more, because I feel like Conrad De La Fuente. For the amount of game, for like that game against, I think, was it against Cornilla? Was it away? I think I forgot. I think it was Cornell or something. I don't remember. It was around a 32 goal rate. He looked promising, so hopefully he can get more game time next season.
I have a feeling that Connor might end up going on loan just because of the amount of wingers and the talent we have, and we're probably going to get with Depay coming in possibly. So I feel like Trincao and Conrad could possibly go out on loan.
And I think this is a really good point. Sid 16. So Dembele is a bit selfish in my opinion, and great chances he could just pass in goals can occur, but he either attempts a shot or dribbles. That's very true. And that I feel like a lot of times when I see Dembele in good chances to score, he instead of just passing, he would just go for goal outside the box and that's like a wasted affair. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Dembele for me, he just has to be more of a team player, and I feel like I definitely agree with you since I've seen him quite do that very often. So I definitely agree with you since.
And Dembele, for me, he's a bit careless in possession. He just gives the ball away way too easily.
Yeah, Jordan, what do you think of Dembele? Do you think Dembele is a good player?
Yeah, he's a good player, excellent player as well. Yeah, he is good, very good, with especially as well. He is good he's good at headers as well. So, he's very good. I give him 10 out of 1, 10 out of 10.
All right, we now move on to the strikers, Griezmann and Braithwaite. Wow. Actually, Griezmann's not really a center forward as a second striker. We'll just combine the two. Why not? Because they're the only player for that position. So, for me, I think Griezmann had a good season. I think his chemistry with Messi was really improved this year. I think him and Messi, the combination the two had was incredible. And I feel like from me, Griezmann really came clutch in some of those games we had. I feel like he came clutch in those some games in particular. I remember against I think against Granada he came up big. Against Athletic Club he came up big. And I think for me, yes. And I feel like for me, Griezmann, I feel like a lot of times when Griezmann scores, it's usually been the first goal for Barcelona, which I really do like in the sense that he always tries to open the scoring. And I feel like for me, Griezmann this season had an improved season compared to last season. I still don't believe. I think the biggest problem with Griezmann is the fact that he doesn't score enough goals. He doesn't score enough goals for us, and I think that's pretty much the biggest criticism people are going to have with him is that his goal scoring he can improve upon his goal scoring. The thing is, he's a secondary striker, so I don't know, man. I think still he had a great season. I think it was very, very important for us in the Copa del Rey win, and I think he was amazing. As for Braithwaite, I think Braithwaite had a good season. I think that goal against Sevilla was probably his biggest moment ever, and I think for me, he had an okay season. I remember he had a great game against Dynamo Kiev away from home. I think he scored a brace, if I'm not mistaken. Then I think he scored against Osasuna as well. I think for the most part, Braithwaite was good, but as I said, I think, unfortunately, I believe, I don't think Braithwaite is. I feel like Braithwaite is not really good enough for Barcelona, but I do like his work ethic. I do like the fact that he isn't really selfish whatsoever. He tries to play for the team, which I really do like. So yeah. And yeah, this is very true for Sid 16 here. So Griezmann 2021 revived his Barcelona career. His performances revived our unbeaten run. Absolutely, I definitely agree with you in the sense that I think Griezmann for me was amazing. So yeah, I think I'm going to give Griezmann probably a 7, and I think I'm going to give Braithwaite probably a 3 or 4. Actually, I'm going to give 3.5. I didn't think it was bad, but he didn't really play too many games.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Braithwaite, obviously, his goal against Sevilla is probably his biggest moment, his most proud moment in a Barcelona shirt. And Griezmann, he definitely revived his career. Not his career, his Barcelona career, and it was a good season from Griezmann. So I definitely agree with you guys on that.
All right, so Jordan Hyman left, so we're gonna go ahead and now discuss about the final. We're gonna discuss about one final player, actually not player, final person, and that is Ronald Koeman. Now we're gonna finally discuss. I'm gonna make this kind of brief because, like I said before, guys, it's getting toward the end. I expected to finish this hour. Unfortunately, we're going a little bit over, so we'll do around 10 more minutes at the very most. So sorry about this, guys. We're gonna go try to get this done as soon as we can. So let's go and talk about this. So Sid, not Sid, MSN, give me your opinion on Ronald Koeman this season.
I mean, Ronald Koeman, for his first season as a Barcelona manager, he came in at like one of our worst points. I think Griezmann. I'm not Griezmann. I mean, Koeman had like an okay season. Obviously, he did make some bad calls. I mean, like obviously he like rejuvenated the squad for a bit. So overall, I would give his like rating like a 6 out of 10. Obviously, his in-game management was not the best, so that's the only like concern or critique I have for him.
Yeah, I think Koeman for me this season, I think it's interesting in the sense that you have to commend him for going from Netherlands to Barcelona because let's be real, Netherlands were in a great position. They were rebuilding. They look like Netherlands could have done something in the potential Euros. And I think he originally stated that he wanted to take Netherlands to the Euros and then maybe consider parting ways with the Netherlands. Obviously, we know what happened. The whole pandemic happened. The Euros got postponed. And he came to Barcelona on the brink of one of the worst defeats in their club's history. Obviously, I don't want to speak too much upon it. And I think I even heard he even paid his own release clause to come to Barcelona, which I think is very commendable in the sense that I don't think many managers would do that kind of thing, especially to come to this club. And I think he understood that if he wanted to manage Barcelona, it would be now or never. There would be no other golden opportunities, and that it would likely be Xavi that would likely manage Barcelona in the future, and that he probably knew that. So I think, in my opinion, like I said before, guys, I still do believe he came in at a very right time. I think he came in a very, very bad time. And I think he, this season, I think he did amazing, rejuvenating Frankie de Jong, getting the best out of de Jong, getting the best out of Griezmann. I think the two really played well under him, as well as the fact that he was able to go on that ridiculous run in the La Liga, going for 19 games unbeaten. And yeah, as I said before, and like he didn't, like I said, he wasn't really completely back to the transfer window as well. So I do believe in the sense that it's a bit unfair to give him the boot after just one season. So I think for me, Koeman this season, I think he did okay. But the thing I don't like about Koeman, this is my biggest criticism around Koeman. It's not the fact the big games, because I knew for a fact that the big games this season we would relatively struggle because of the squad that we have. We don't really have a great squad. We don't really have the mentality of the players, and I feel like some of these players are just not really Barcelona material. The biggest problem I have is that his in-game management, as well as the fact that how he manages the players. For me, what he's done to Ricky Puig has been absolutely unacceptable. Unacceptable, man. And like I said before, guys, I don't believe it's fair what he's been doing to Ricky Puig. I think for me, Ricky Puig deserves more game time, and I don't understand why he doesn't get more game time. Yes, because what he does in the training and all that, and for me, is very unacceptable, as well as the fact that his in-game management. I feel like for me, his substitutions have never really helped the team a lot, and I feel like more often than not, his substitution that he tries to make has hampered the team. I remember it early in the season against, I think, was it Getafe Real Madrid. We tried to put more attackers on to score the equalizer or to score the equalizer, and then we concede a goal. We actually, it ends up being worse, and obviously Real Madrid were able to score the third goal through that. And I feel like for me, Koeman has to improve his in-game management for me, and that for me is the biggest criticism I have. And that's the reason why I was very against Koeman staying for next season, because that's the thing I hated the most, is that he couldn't manage the in-game management. For me, substitutions have never really been that great, and for me, I feel like he seems to panic too much. And I don't really like that aspect. So, but I will give him another season. Like I said before, guys, I will give him another season, and he's going to stay for next season. That is officially confirmed. And so I do believe in the sense that with the proper players he will get in the next season, the transfer window, getting Memphis Depay, likely Gini Wijnaldum, Sergio Aguero, and I think he's probably going to go ahead and get who's another player, Eric Garcia. I think he will definitely I think he's an Emerson as well. I think he should be able to do better than that. If he doesn't perform next season, then we should probably just part ways. So yeah, in my opinion, I think I'm going to give Koeman a 6, just about. I think Koeman, for me, I think this season, what the Copa del Rey win, I think was very vital in that. If he had not won the Copa del Rey, I think he probably would have likely parted ways. And I could understand why we kept Koeman, because like guys, it was very expensive to sack Koeman. I think we would have to pay $13 million. I think I saw something like that, and obviously we don't really have that kind of money. And let's be real, there's no really great managerial replacements out there. There's no like 100% replacements. So yeah, I definitely do think that it makes sense that Koeman is staying. But like I said, next season he has to perform. Next season we have to do better, because this season for me was a bit disappointing considering how we ended. So yeah, Jordan Jaime, what do you think Koeman? What do you think of Koeman's first season in Barcelona?
Yes, he's a good manager, and Sergio Aguero is there already. So it's only Gini Wijnaldum and Memphis Depay alone to arrive, and also Emerson as well. So those are the three guys left to arrived. Aguero is there already, so he's officially there. So it's only the three guys alone. They are waiting until arrive now, so that will be okay.
And like I just saw like Koeman put on his Instagram, I'm relieved to say my players and staff can fully focus on the new season now. The last few weeks have been intense, but I'm glad the president gave his official support to me and calm has been restored. The focus of everyone inside the club is the same, building a winning Barca and achieving success. So I mean, like, this could infer that he's kind of motivated, probably.
So how interesting that we're just talking about Koeman. He just made that quote right now. Yeah, that's a pretty good quote. And yeah, so yeah, I think I definitely agree in the sense that you can see his points per game has been 2.9. I think I was looking at other Barcelona coaches, and their points per game is significantly higher. I think the only coach that has a less than him is probably Quique Setién. So
yeah,
I think every other Barcelona coach. So yeah, like I said, next season it's make or break, and that you have to perform next season. And obviously, we'll do another video on our expectations for next season. And yeah, let's go look at what Sid 16 said. So he did deserve a second chance. He inherited a squad who lost 8-2 and a squad not in the right mentality and left his Netherlands who were Euro contenders. Yeah, I definitely agree with you in the sense that I didn't get the players he wanted and was very close to winning the league. Yeah, exactly. And Siddharth says, Koeman to stay. We need to be patient. Not every manager is Guardiola to win trophies. I know for a season. Like I said before, guys. And yeah, so actually, before we round off today's video, I suppose, would you guys consider this season a good season for Barcelona or a horrible season or a mixed bag? The season was okay and bad.
Barcelona, hopefully you guys win because right now you guys are making buying players now. So hopefully you guys have Aguero. He signed his contract for Barcelona. It's only Gini Wijnaldum and Memphis Depay and Emerson left to sign their contract now for Arsenal and also do their medical, so make it officially for next season's return of the leagues. So it's only
already Sergio Aguero, Eric Garcia, and Emerson I'm pretty sure they've already signed. They haven't seen. I mean, Emerson's in Brazil, so obviously I think it's confirmed. Yeah, and those three are coming in, and then Gini Wijnaldum and Memphis Depay, I think they're coming in after the Euros.
I think this season for Barcelona has been overall a good season. I think this was a good season, and I think it was a good season. But as I said, I think how we ended the season, how we ended La Liga especially, I think was very disappointing in the sense that we couldn't even fight to the final match day. We had the chance. We had to beat those. If we had just won against those inferior teams, we would have won this league. And I just think for me, like I said before, guys, and I think you said it perfectly. I think you told me yesterday that Ron Koeman said this was a transitional season, and John Laporta said this isn't a transitional season. So there's never a transitional season for Barcelona. So there's clash of ideologies there in the sense that the two have different opinions. And I think for me, I kind of agree. I'm kind of in the middle. Well, I actually kind of agree with John Laporta in the sense that we can't be in transitional seasons like this. We could have seasons where we don't expect to do very well, try to do our best. But as I said, we can't go full out transitional because, like I said, we still have to play our big players. And if this was really a transitional season, how come Koeman kept playing all the senior players? He should have been playing all the younger players instead. So, in that sense, I don't really.
I saw a video and that was one of the main points. If this is a transitional season, play the transitional players, not this. Don't keep playing the same players. Not Ernesto Valverde or Quique Setién played.
Yeah, I think for me this has been a good season. I think next season though we have to do better. And like I said before, guys, so there's that. So Sis 16 said it was an average season, not a bad one because it was a transitional season. I mean, you're right in the sense that it was a transitional season, but I don't really like to say it was a transitional because like I said, it wasn't to me. To me, it kind of was a bit of transitional, kind of not because, like I said before, guys, I don't really we obviously know that this Barcelona team was declining. This is probably this is definitely probably one of the worst teams we have seen from Barcelona in a very long time. But at the same time, I don't believe this was a fully transitional season because Koeman didn't play all the youngsters, so I don't really necessarily 100% agree with that, and I think I definitely agree with you. It was an average season. I think average season is probably fair in that sense. So yeah, Siddharth said a 6 out of 10. If you have one La Liga, 8 out of 10. If you have one UCL, 10 out of 10. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So Koeman is going to stay for next season. So obviously, in the sense that we're going to have him again next season. So like I said, my biggest criticism of Koeman is that he has to improve his in-game management. And that's the thing I have against him the most. So if he can improve that, I'm perfectly fine with him staying. So hopefully next season he can improve on the substitutions and that. So I think that's it for today, guys. So we're going to wrap up today. I think this has been good. So do you think there's any, before we log out, do we think there's any last things we need to discuss, or do you think this is good?
I mean, I think this is good. We had a really exciting, good discussion. So
yeah, I think that's good. So thank you guys for joining us, guys. Remember, comment, subscribe, check out my description from my Twitter, Instagram, email. And remember, guys, I will be doing another live stream today, guys, around 4 p.m. Check that out. I'm going to do the Eintracht for Frankfurt football managers. So hopefully I will see you guys then. So take care, guys. Peace out.
And then there's also my channel link in the description. So if anybody wants
yeah, that's right. Yeah, and I'd like to thank MSN for coming on, Jordan Hyman, and LFC. I'll put both of their links down below the description below. You guys can check that out. Please make sure you guys subscribe to all 3 of our channels, indeed. And so, yeah, guys, that's pretty much it.
Bye.